ambassador. You might recognize some of these things like Walmart moms. EA after she talked about it was a really nice challenge. So Renee, take it away. Stand up.
Okay, so I have notes only because I forget because I do so many things. And one of the things that I like to talk about is how I first got into working with brands. And so I'll tell you, the first brand I worked with was Disney, and I went to on a Disney Moms trip. And my whole thing when I started blogging and realized that there were opportunities for bloggers to go places is that I wanted to take a trip. It wasn't about money. There really wasn't a lot of bloggers making big money or anything back then. And just to let you know, I'm a professional blogger, so it's my full-time job and my income. And now, but when I started, it was just, I want to go on a trip. I didn't know where, I didn't know how, I didn't know what I was going to do. And so like I said, I was commenting on all these blogs. I got to be known in the community. And within 3 months, I was at Disney it was Disney Moms of African American descent. And so with that opportunity, I was like, well, what else can I do? And one of the things that was very important for me was to watch what people who were doing what I wanted to do, watch what they were doing. You know, how is it that they did it? I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I didn't necessarily have to go up to them and ask them. I would just utilize social media, look at people's blogs, read what they were talking about, read Twitter, Facebook, and learn from the people who were, I guess, my sheroes out there. And so I decided that I wanted to go to a conference where there were not that many women of color. There was no Blogalicious at the time. And at the time, many brands were not working with women of color. My blog is not branded as like an African-American woman's perspective on life. It's just me as a woman who happens to be a mother who happens to be African-American. I think it's the last thing that people really think about when they go to my blog. But when I went to this particular conference, there was no diversity there, but there were a number of bloggers that I wanted to hear from who I read. And there was a very large sponsor there, which was Walmart. And so there was a brouhaha online about the fact that there was lack of diversity, and as I'm prone to do, I decided to go and provide constructive criticism to the organizers. But again, I used the word constructive. I didn't blast it out on Twitter. I talked to the organizers in person. When I went and approached the person from Walmart, I talked about the fact that when they started the program, it did not look the way it looks now, and that's not even a picture that's reflective of how it looks. But we have Latinas, we have African American women, Asian women now. But when the program first started with the 11 moms, they were all white, point blank. And I'm like, that's not the only Walmart consumer, nor is that the only mom in the social media space. So I went up to the representative from Walmart and I said to him, the program lacked diversity. I see you're doing some changes now. And from that conversation, he was on a panel just like this one, he said, well, let's have lunch. And literally, he sat with me, although there was a room full of people just like this one, and talked to me for the entire lunch because I was providing him with some constructive criticism. And from that, he hired me as a consultant to work in their diversity program.
Woo,
and I became a Walmart mom after that.